when it comes to interpersonal relationships, when they start to fall apart, they start the animosity and arguing and fighting, you'll often find with most of them that the root cause, if you look really deeply, you'll find the root cause is a word which we call ego. And I'm not talking about a healthy ego. Now this could be between a husband and a wife, between friends, business associates, colleagues. And what starts to occur is when a person always has to feel that they are correct, that they understand everything, that they know everything, that my viewpoint is the only correct viewpoint. What happens then is that it doesn't create any space for the other person to exist. God even tells us, our sages explain that God tells us that if you have an ego, God says, I have no space to be in your presence. It's almost as like if you can imagine, if your ego fills up a room and there's no space for anyone else to be in the room because the ego has just completely filled it up. That's what happens in a relationship when it starts to fall apart. When a person feels it's always about them, what I think, what I have to say, what I should, what my viewpoint should be. And again, the more you feel like that, the less and less space there is for somebody else. And of course, that causes the fighting and the arguments. Now, Parashah this week, there's an antidote. It's a special Shabbat, the second of the four special Shabbat, Shabbat Parah. We learn about the very special mitzvah of the Parah Aduma, the red heifer, a law which we are told doesn't make sense to us logically. The mitzvot, in fact, are divided into three groups. One of those groups are what we call chukim, laws which are beyond our comprehension. And so whilst this parasha may seem that it doesn't really relate to us because we don't have the laws of purity and impurity, we don't have a Beit HaMikdash, but the principle of it, to try and absorb in ourselves and say, you know what, hold on a minute. Just like this mitzvah, which was such a precious and special mitzvah, it helped purify somebody who was impure. And yet the person who purified the person who is impure becomes impure themselves, which is beyond our comprehension. It teaches us to accept that we don't always know everything. We don't always understand everything. It allows us to have a place of humility. And the truth is, if you want to grow in life, you want to learn more, you want to understand more, you've got to accept that there's another view out there. There's someone else who can teach you more than you know. There's somebody who knows a little bit more than you know. If you're stuck in a place where you're continuously feeding your ego and allowing your ego to grow and grow and grow, sadly, you're going to push everyone else away. And of course, you'll just remain where you are without growing and developing. So let us absorb this Shabbat, the Shabbat of Parah, to say, you know what, I don't always know everything. I don't always have to stress my viewpoint. I'm prepared to listen, to hear, to accept someone else. And I can assure you, if you do that, it will bring a lot of blessing, peace, and harmony in your life. Wishing you Shabbat Shalom and a beautiful weekend ahead.